we just received your tape that was postmarked July the 29th. So that is real fast service, and enjoyed very much listening to it. So I thought right now would be a good time to start my tape to you. I was very glad to know that you had been put up for petty officer second class, and would have the opportunity to going to school. I presume that would be after you come back home after this deployment. And I know that the extra $150 a month sounds real good uh, when it's coming from the military angle, but from civilian angle, it's doesn't sound too good to us. But as I said before, you play your hunches and do as you feel it is best. The 1-year extension is the only objection I have. If they go ahead and let you do it without having that year extension, why, I'd be all for it. I didn't quite understand what you meant by it helped bridging the gap between your service and your professional career, starting your own practice in your profession. So maybe you can elaborate on that in your next tape. If not, why, I'm sure you can explain it to us when you do get home. I will make some comments on this tape. We had already suggested to Steve that when he goes to Salt Lake that they take the bare necessities out there and see what his job does have for him, and if they are completely satisfied, they can always send for their things. Mrs. Jones have given them a full house of furniture, which was Aunt Dee's. The furniture that's in their house across the street, the one that they rent. They've given them all that furniture, and they plan on moving it as they go up, which seems to me a far cry from what they need to do. We feel, too, that they should go and get an apartment and see how it works out, because after the baby comes, why, they might decide that's a little different story to be so far away from everyone, but we don't know any more about what they intend to do than I've already told you. I had hoped that you had heard from them before now. Dad talked to him Sunday afternoon, and he was commenting to the fact that he hadn't received a letter from you for so long. So it looks like you're both going to have to get busy and do a little corresponding. As far as the tape recorder being broken, I'm sure it isn't. It's just the idea of getting started on a tape. And I don't want you to worry about that meat platter. I didn't tell you that to make you worry about it. I'll work out something. I haven't got a chance to check here in Houston and on replacing it, and if not, why, I'll probably keep it, or then again I might return it. It's whatever the mood strikes me. And you mentioned about Sandy's trip to Europe. Well, it was a little different than it was represented to her after she got started. Margie LeBou and her daughter Sharon were going, and what Margie told me that it was going to be a plane load going on the tour. Well, it ended up, it was Margie and her daughter and Sandy was the only three that were together on this tour. They went in a plane that was loaded with tourists, but they weren't all of the same party. So it was just the three women, two women and the daughter, rattling around over in all parts of Europe. And Sandy enjoyed it, but not like she thought it was going to be. You know, it was would have been probably better if they could have had a larger group and would have had more consideration in their travels. I was glad that you got one box of cookies, but I can understand why they both didn't come at the same time, because they both were mailed at the same time and the same way. But Again, it might have just have gotten misplaced somewhere. I agree with you. If Mr. Thatcher doesn't need to go up to Contin, I can see no point in it. But we have heard a lot about it in the news, and it seems to be a very troubled area. And the oil painting of the bridge for Mr. Stewart sounds like it would be quite an achievement if you can do it. And I hope that your efforts won't be free gratis, and maybe you can make a few extra dollars that way. We did receive yesterday the movie film of the attack, and as you say, it showed quite a bit of the devastation, and it was the pictures were all good, and we did enjoy you sending them to us. We received, as I told you, I believe last week, your slides and the projector. They all came through okay, and the commentary of the slides that you'd put on the tape was just great. It really made every one complete. We could enjoy each one more, knowing what we were looking at and the part of the picture that you had enjoyed taking, with the explanation of what to look for. You know, sometimes when you look at pictures, especially the first time or two, you don't really grasp everything that's in the picture, and your comments did help. We had a great time Sunday with Becky. We picked her up around 12 o'clock after we had gone to Sunday school and church, and went to Houston Club and had brunch, and we all enjoyed it, and she was very excited about it. And we came home and spent the rest of the afternoon showing your slides and the movies that we have received, which I believe with the one that we received yesterday makes 10 rolls altogether. And then about 6:30 we had some ice cream and cake, and then we went over by the ball house. We had talked to her about it, and so she said she'd like to go over. So we went by there, and it would just be our luck. They do have everything locked up tight. We couldn't get in. And it looked like from the outside it was pretty well completed. They have evidently done, well, they have done more work on the inside than when we were there. The completion of the dividing between the hallway and the living room has been completed. And the wallpapers in the bathroom, boy, one of them has really got jazzy wallpaper. It has huge daisies or sunflowers. They must be 1.5 feet across, of yellows and oranges. And it was really unusual paper. And then the other bathroom that we could see from the window, it was just a white, muted, appearing to have a texture of a little figures, flowers or something. And she was just completely carried away with the house, and she said that it was such an accomplishment to know that you had put it on paper, and here it was, all built. And it was just more than she could understand how it could be done, and she was more than pleased to know that you had done it. We spent quite a bit of time looking at the place over, and so after that, she decided that she better go on home. So I guess we got her home about 7:30. Jane had gone to Beaumont for, I don't know, the weekend, I presume, and so she's by herself, and she will be leaving tomorrow or Wednesday to go to Amarillo. Well, to go back home. I always get Amarillo and Abilene mixed up, and spend the rest of the time with her folks. She said she didn't know where she would spend the entire time there, or come back to Houston. It was according to how time passed, but she was looking forward to the trip to the Dude Ranch in Colorado. So she said she'd catch a fish and eat it for us. And as we told her that how much we had enjoyed our fly fishing trips to Colorado and Wyoming. So she was looking forward to that trip, and of course, being home, it will be nice for her. She had received her little monkey from the Philippines, and she was thrilled with that. And we also received one too. And as she said, it had the cutest expression of anything that she had seen. And we thought so too. We also received a package from you with some kind of tote bag in it. And so she enjoyed seeing all the things that you had sent here to the house, and we had a very nice afternoon visiting with her, and I'm sure she did too. We'll try to do it again one of these days. Saturday night, Jerry called. He was in Houston. They had come in on Friday and had to go back Sunday afternoon. But they had come in for a visit, and Rhonda will be getting married August the 19th, and Jerry will come home for that. And he said that he was going to try to get a 3-day pass, and that way he would have a little more time at home. But they have an apartment in Waco, which he said is about a 65-mile drive to the base every morning, and he goes home every night. And they have a nice apartment there and a swimming pool, and he said it was just like holding down any other kind of job, and he was real pleased with the setup and hope it would just continue. And I hope it does too. If he can just stay in the States till the first year is up, why, the way I understand it, then he won't have to be faced with the possibilities of being sent overseas. And his address is 5100 Sanger, Sanger, apartment 115 at Waco, Texas. And he said that the reason why he hadn't written, he had misplaced his address book, or thought he'd lost it. And in the confusion of their moving and everything, it had gotten misplaced. And finally they had found it in one of Rhonda's purses. She had picked it up, and put it in there for safekeeping, and hadn't used that handbag for quite a while. And then when she did find it just a few days ago, why, he was relieved. So he said he was going to have to get your letter off right away. And I told him that you was really chewing on him, and he should have been feeling it. Well, he said he knew he was slow, and but would do better when he got back home. So I hope you will be hearing from him. The fellow that Rhonda is marrying, Jerry said it was some fellow that used to work out there where she works now, and that Jerry said he liked him better than anyone that Rhonda had ever gone with. So it'll be wedding bells for her then for too long. Well, I had a little interruption too. The doorbell rang, and it was the drapery man from Josky that finally came to measure for drapes. We have had a time getting together. I've stayed at home 2 days already. Yeah, one last week and one a week or so before. It seemed like the day that they were supposed to come, they didn't, and then they would come on a day they weren't supposed to, and of course they'd come just the time I was gone. So we finally did get together, and they measured for the drapes. And while he was here, Daddy came home unexpectedly, and I fixed him some lunch, and then he was going on to bowling. He had a change of plans, decided to come home, change clothes, and go on to bowling. So he will be doing that, and be home around 6 o'clock. And he will be bringing Rick Carter back to spend the night, and Rick's going to work here the rest of the week. So as far as I know, he'll be here each night the rest of the week. So I have gotten back to making tapes. So I guess I better ring off for now and get Daddy to add some tonight, and then we'll finish up and get this off in the mail in the morning without fail.
Received your tape today, Ron. Appreciated it to the utmost. Now, reference to your OCS, we would like very much for you to get out of the service as soon as possible. However, you do as you think best for your happiness is more important. We really don't matter to us, so you must do the things that most appealing to you and most profitable for you. So it's your decision. The petty officer second class could be possibly quite a interesting thing for you, and it might be just what you want. So it's up to you. The bombing pictures that you sent were quite plain and quite informative of the damage and the harassment from the enemy, and we just continually trust that the good Lord will keep you safe from their destruction, and in the future you'll be in the barracks or somewhere safer than what you were at the last time. You mentioned the Bowling Production Company, All Income. Well, we haven't spent any of the money yet for the potential, as we are going to work over 3 of the wells and try for a bonanza, which will be easier to enjoy than just a real normal income. Then the Cadillac, Well, anyhow, it's a challenge of our wits and of the romance of the oil business. It would be great to have 100 barrels per day income. Now, that's not impossible, so we'll soon know the answer. We'll make arrangements for you at the Nippon Kokan Steel Company and Arai Steel Company in Tokyo to furnish you a hotel and each for a couple nights and possibly 3 days while you're there, and that'll ease up some of the expense while you're in Tokyo. We're telling them now that you're going to be there on the 17th, but you can let us know the exact date, and we'll give you the names of the people to contact and when you arrive there. So you inform us as soon as you can, and then we'll notify you right back as to make the contacts at the plant, and maybe you can see the Arai mill and the Nippon Kokan steel mill, the highlights of it while you're there. I see I still have a lot of tape here to use up, and without very many words of conversation, so probably I better think a little while and then come back and see you a little later. So for right now, it's good night. Ronnie, we received your slide projector the other day. I'm sure Mother has told you about it in the tape. It was real fine, and we enjoyed viewing the picture, looking at the pictures very much. They were so plain and easy to operate the projector. And it was sure enjoyable, much to look at it 4 or 5 times already. You mentioned something about Mother not sounding right on the last tape. Well, possibly that was a combination of things. Maybe just not feeling well, and all the bad news we'd heard from over in your country and what had been going on. It had its effect upon her general outlook on life, I'm sure, and affected her voice to a certain extent. But I believe possibly she's a little more strained and in a little better shape now, and maybe this tape will be not quite as noticeable as the other. But we're always much concerned, and as you would be if we were over there. Of course, if we keep on having the troubles and the rats in this country that we're having, well, we might be in a dangerous position too. We hope not. We'll go out around Austin somewhere and get up behind one of them big rocks and hide away. Let them have it if we have to. You were mentioning about Steve and Sanford that you hadn't heard from since graduation, and they talked about the last couple of times that they hadn't heard from you since graduation. Well, I think they're wrong, because I remember one tape came here to the house, and then it seems as though that there was a letter that they got from you one time we were up there talking to them. But anyhow, they seem to want to hear from you directly, and so if you get time, drop them a line and park them up and get them on the ball. And I've told him, Stephen, every time he's mentioned it, that he should write to you. And he said he would when he got time. So I guess that's the way it goes. I guess I possibly deflated Becky's ego very much Sunday when I went to pick her up to bring her by the house or bring her to have dinner and then come by the house to look at the pictures. And I walked up to her door, and the first thing she said, "Oh, you must come in and see what Ronald sent me." And I walked in, and she grabbed up the monkey and showed it to me with much pride, and I said, "That sure is a dandy. That is really pretty. You know, we got one just like it at home," thinking that she was going to see it the minute she walked in, and it kind of deflated her ego, and I shouldn't have said a word other than should have beat her in the house and hid the monkey, and she never would have known the difference. But anyhow, she was real proud of the monkey that you sent her, and I thought that was real great. Also, Becky was quite taken in, or quite enthused or pleased about the ball house. We took her by there Sunday evening, and she really thought that was something. Said she just couldn't believe that Ronnie had the capabilities of doing all of that. Said it was just the kind of house she'd like to live in or like to have, and I was quite pleased with her comments. She was really, really enthused. It was a lot of fun. Ronnie, I found a new place to play golf down at New Golf, the country club there, which I think I showed you one time we were down there. It's really a fine place to play. Craig Sutherland and I were down there Saturday morning and played 9 holes and went over and took him a tour of the shop, which he hadn't seen, up past the oil field and then back to Houston. And he says it's really great because the greens are so well prepared and so level. There's no worrying about which way to shoot the ball. You just shoot it straight at the hole, and you've got it made. It's just a real fine course. So I'm going to practice up a little bit and be ready for you when you get here, and we'll go down and play some golf and see if you've improved or what's happened since the last time we played. Craig said he'd like to go back again, so maybe he'll be due for a trip about the time you get here. I see we're about out of tape, and I'm going to